okay with playing things that are bigger. And Disney is amazing, and I am not discounting that, but saying I think I want more for my creative journey than quote unquote just playing a Disney princess.
Hello, we are here with Sun Sounds of Arizona in Flagstaff, Arizona, and welcome to episode 15 of Untamed Shrews, Women Talk Theater, presented by the Flagstaff Shakespeare Festival. I'm Becki.
And I'm Hannah.
And I'm Dawn.
And welcome to today's episode. Today, we are chatting with my gal pal, Renna Nightingale.
Woo.
She is an actress and an author hailing from sunny Southern California. I'm so jealous. It's cold. Well, it's sunny here, but cold still. But before we get started with Renna, let's do a quick check-in with the Shrews because we didn't have Dawn last month.
Yeah.
Dawn, how you doing?
Ah!
Large eyes, guys. Very large
Yeah,
eyes.
my first day as a stay-at-home working mother, and
Yeah,
I
you
think
came
I've
back
gotten
today.
about 15 minutes of work done. So we're not off to a stellar start, but starting tomorrow, I have some grandmother backup. So hopefully we'll get things rolling. But yeah, baby's doing good. I'm doing good. It's a whole new world for me. So
Yeah. Oh, I missed you so frickin' much. Like, I was fine, but like, I just really miss you. Like, I don't want to be in charge in a vacuum anymore. I just really want you back.
yeah.
I
feel like
I miss your camaraderie. Like, I text you literally every day with like what do you think of this idea? What is this like? How do you like this? And it's just like, it's just not the same without you.
Yeah, I think you got a taste of what it was like for me before you and Becki, and you can see why I loved you both so much from the very beginning. I was like, oh, thank God.
Seriously.
It's so different to work in a vacuum, and anyone who's out there running their own company or trying to start their own thing, like when you get employees, it gets so much better.
Yeah. And of course, like Amy and Raquel are amazing, but they're super part-time and they're not here in Flagstaff. So it really falls on me. It like truly does fall on me. There's like literally no one else to do it. Like if something needs to get done, unless it's like specifically casting related or like venue related, like it really did fall on me. And if it was something that had to be like physically done here in Flagstaff, like I was it. So I was just like, I don't want to be alone anymore.
Well, you're not alone anymore, Hannah.
Exactly. I'm so glad you're back. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's good. And Blake is like so much bigger now and his eyes are open and he can like
Blake, I feel like that was just such, like, there was a moment where it was like, oh my gosh, Blake's eyes are open and he's smiling. And it's like, oh,
he's
I don't
so
know.
giggly now.
Yeah. Just watching his journey on your stories is,
Blake's journey of growing up.
His 2 month journey.
Happiest baby.
Yeah.
I'm gonna knock on wood. Like, I don't know. We got like the happiest baby and we're so lucky. He's like such a sweetheart and so like lively and engaged and just amazing kid. So
good. I'm so glad. He's the cutest.
Yeah.
We lucked out.
Yeah. And he just turned 2?
3 months.
3
months.
He's a quarter of a year old.
Whoa.
That's not how we measure time with babies.
Wait a minute. Well, we can start. No, they do like literally like
kind of thing where
monthly
he could tell you like how many days out of a year he was, like what percentage of a year old he was. I forget how to do it though.
Okay,
that's funny.
But you could do that somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I shouldn't have interjected because I can't remember how to do it. You can cut that, Hannah.
Good information. I probably won't. Bex, how about you? What are you up to?
Yeah, it's a pretty quiet winter for me here in Flagstaff. I feel like I'm just like hibernating. Like, I don't know. It's just been a quiet winter. I feel like I'm taking like aerial classes and wow, do I just love that so much. And I just want to be like really good.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Don't we all?
1 week at a time. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Shrew crew should know by now, but we talk about Ariel a lot. So if you don't know that we're Arielists and that we love Ariel, then like, have you really been listening? And also, shameless plug. Well, it's not my company, but plug for Momentum Ariel in Flagstaff. If you are in the Flagstaff area and you want to know why me, Becki, and Dawn are just so happy all the time, it's because we do Ariel and it's therapy.
Yes.
So you should check them out.
Yeah. How
That's
are
good.
you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Let's see. I mean, I haven't like talked about it much on the podcast, but there's just been a lot of family stuff going on for me, and I'm getting ready to travel to California for a pretty significant amount of time. So most of March I will be gone. So I'm just kind of getting prepped for that, and you know, I feel good, but I feel like daily I'm not very motivated, which is like super unlike me. Like I work very few hours each day because I just feel like I get exhausted really quickly, and I've just like never really experienced that. I just feel like I'm emotionally exhausted. And that's just like, you guys know me, that's like just not me. So it's been rough. It's been like similar to you. It's been a very quiet winter. I would say since Christmas, I have felt like I couldn't really get going. Like I couldn't really get started. And like now it's literally February 28th. Like it's the end of February. And I just feel like I haven't really done that much since like the middle of December. But I'm trying to give myself grace because like this is not something I've ever really experienced before. And I don't know, it's winter. You guys know I love the sunshine. I hate being cold. So, I mean, maybe it's like some version of seasonal depression plus emotional baggage that I'm dealing with. And so I don't know. I'm generally good, but I just feel like not super myself lately. So trying to, you know, but stuff like this makes me so happy. Like the podcast brings me so much joy. And Ariel, and I'm dating again.
Ooh.
I know. Things are crazy. So yeah, just like honestly a lot of life changes in the since like October. Oh my gosh. Like every month since October has brought some like big new life change, and I'm just like, I can't with this anymore. Like these are so many things I'm dealing with. So yeah, not a very like happy check-in, I guess, but still good. Just navigating a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but good. It's like almost springtime. Looking forward to sunshine.
Just acknowledging it and being like, this is why I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
That is awesome, Hannah. Like, don't beat yourself up about being exhausted emotionally. Like, that's the place you're in. And just being like, I got a couple hours of work done today, and that's great. Like, that's what I managed to do. And now I'm just going to listen to my body and be tired. And, you know,
And it's not even like physical exhaustion. It's just like, I don't know. It's not like brain fog, but it's just like, when I think of new projects, they overwhelm me in a way that like they never have before. I mean, certain things I'm able, like y'all will hear we chatted with Renna today about like the one woman show that I'm working on, and there are some things that like I'm feeling motivated for, but other things, and like Ariel, I feel very motivated for Ariel, but I just feel unmotivated in the things that I usually feel really motivated in. So it's just like a funky like discovering like that I just am not very used to. I like pride myself in being like positive to a fault, you know? So I'm like, why aren't I positive all the time? But that can't be always. So is what it is. But I got new headshots taken by your husband, and they're great.
They look really good.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel like I really needed
beautiful.
them. Thanks. We like everyone needs new headshots. This is your sign to treat yourself to new headshots, because I had been using the same headshots since like 4-5 years ago. So y'all, this is your sign. go get new headshots.
I was updating my website, and then also, well, Hannah, I think you'd mentioned it when we all logged into the Zoom, and my photo is different, but I'm using a different headshot that I haven't used before. But I was just like looking at the ones, because I did a session in January of 2020, and I've really just primarily stuck to one since then. I mean, not that I'm really using it.
It's a great one, though. It's so
Thank
good.
you.
The colors just pop.
Thank you. So I was just like going through some of them. And I was just like, wow, I really love this one. I love this one too. I look so happy. This is so commercial. Like, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, now I'm just trying to, I guess, use more of them because I've really only stuck with the one. But again, I'm not like actively sending out my headshot and resume. But, you know, just keep it mixing things up a little bit.
Yeah, keeping it fresh. Yeah. And it's honestly not just for auditions, which it's funny because like I just finished, like audition season is kind of like slowing down. I sent off a bunch of auditions like a month ago and now I just got new headshots, which feels a little silly. But, you know, it's like it's for our website. It's for, you know, even as simple as like the little
like
bubble
Google
on our
icon
email.
or
that.
that. Yeah.
So like, you know, it's just good to freshen it up.
Yeah.
Change it up, you know?
Mix things up a bit.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, that was our shrew check-in. Now back to the episode with Renna. Welcome, Renna. Hello.
Hi, Shrews. It's so good to be with you guys, and it's so nice to meet you guys via Zoom.
Yay!
Yeah.
Guys, Renna is a friend that I met through one of my amazing closest best friends in college. Shout out to Demarie. I'm sure she's listening. Especially if you're also on the pod today, Renna. This is like gonna be Demarie's favorite episode.
Oh yeah, like a Demery twofer.
Yeah, exactly. So Renna, can you tell the piteousness,
the shroopies,
the shrewsies, the shrew crew, a little bit about you, what you're up to right now, your hyphens, all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'm Renna Nightingale, and as we all have our many hyphens, I would say mine are actor, writer, and coach. And I just love stories, just like you guys. And ever since I was 7 years old, I knew that that's what my life was going to be about. I was in a production of Oklahoma, and I turned to my mom at 7, and I said, "Mom, this is what I'm doing with my life." And, you know, of course, she laughed. Was like, "Okay, that's nice, sweetie." But you know what? Here I am all those years later, and I've been so grateful. This story-loving life of mine has just been an adventure through and through, and it's taken me all over the world. And I'm so grateful during the pandemic, I got to spend time at Hong Kong Disneyland being a lead vocalist. And I have some really exciting news I'm super excited to share with you guys too.
I know, I saw in the outline. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm so excited. 2 weeks from today, you guys, I am heading out with Royal Caribbean as a performer.
Yay!
So that's going to be the rest of this year for me.
That's so exciting.
Thanks, you guys. Going to get to explore a bunch of new shows aboard, as well as I'm most excited. I get to be in charge of my own 20-minute cabaret. So I got to write and direct and have my own script and choose my own costumes, and that's going to be so much fun. You guys understand, like being a creative on many different levels and getting to use all my hyphens together is going to be so exciting and fun to add some, you know, ownership over the creativity for my next adventure.
Oh my gosh. That's so exciting.
Yeah. Did you pitch that to them, or when you auditioned, did they see that you have all of these, a background in all of these other aspects, and they were like, oh, this would be great if we, to invite her onto the ship to also then do her own cabaret. What was that process like?
Oh my goodness. Becki, I wish that it was like that, where they saw my resume and they're like, whoa, she has all these different crayons in her box. Let's use them. But it just came to me in my contract. It was like, surprise, besides doing your roles in our normal shows, you're also going to need to provide this set. And at first it felt a little intimidating because I've done some cabarets here and there, but never as like my own entity. And so I sat in the nervousness and the anxiety of like, oh my goodness, this is for a huge company. You know, what could I do? And then trying to think about the audience, what's going to serve the wide range of people who come on Royal Caribbean cruises, right? And so I'm so excited. I landed on love songs through the decades. So I'm doing one song per decade starting in the 50s. And I cannot tell you guys how much fun I've been having. And coming off of working for Disney, where everything there, I loved it, by the way. So this is zero shade. It's just comparing two different experiences. And Disney, everything is curated for you.
Right.
And
there's like almost no individuality at all.
Oh, totally. Because I don't get to be myself, and I'm stepping into shoes of characters that we all know and love and are very protective over. And so when I tell you that the detail of direction, and it was just like Hannah said, like I'm not supposed to bring my own individuality. I'm supposed to bring in characters we know and love to life exactly as they are. And so I feel really grateful to say, okay, what is something that I want to bring to the story, to our guests in this way? And so that's really feeding my creative spirit.
That's so exciting. And it's actually so funny because I am working on a one-woman show right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
So I did it in college. It was one of the most amazing assignments. In like my senior musical theater class. Shout out to Melinda, my professor. She had us like write our own like 30-minute like one person shows. And she's like, I want this to be something that you can pull out when you're living in New York and you're not booking work and you just like want to create your own thing. Like I want you to know what it's like to create one so that you can do it. So I'm revamping that. I mean, I wrote it when I was like 21. So I mean, I'm a little bit of a different human now, but, 5 years later. So I'm kind of revamping it, but some of the songs in Patter are fairly similar. So I'm going to make it a little bit longer, and I'm changing out some of the stories and that kind of thing. And so that's funny. I'm going to have to pick your brain because I'm like basically doing the exact same thing right now.
Yeah. And vice versa. And Hannah, I would love to know, as you are revisiting this piece that you had back when you were 21, is it interesting to see how you viewed yourself versus how you view yourself now?
Well, so actually it's funny because do you want to know what that one woman show was literally about?
Obviously want to know.
It was about me losing weight in college. So this entire one woman show, I remember I like workshopped different names. At one point, it was called Wildflower, and at one point, it was called Square Peg Round Hole. I think I landed on I Am Playing Me was the name of it. But it was almost entirely about my body image journey, which is what we will talk about with you as well, because we're going to talk about your book. But yeah, so it's funny that you brought this up and that like that's literally what it was about. Now, when I'm looking at it now, and I'm revamping it, it's about that. But I mean, I'm like 6 years out from my like body transformation, whatever you want to call it. So like, it's just not as like obviously present in my brain right now. So to be honest, it's mostly about boys. It's mostly about like love and loss right now. The drama. So yeah, it still has that in it. So, cause it's still the same story, of course, but it just doesn't, it's not like the most important thing to me anymore, which at the time it very much was. So anywho, that's so exciting.
Well, I can't wait to hopefully see your one woman show. And all those topics are incredibly relevant and resonant. So I'm sure it's going to kick butt and be amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay. Well, I just can't wait to pick your brain. I would love to talk about your book. I would love to talk about Disney. But like, maybe let's start with Disney and, your experience in Hong Kong. I'm especially interested. I've mentioned this on the pod before. I really considered doing the like SoCal thing, and I really wanted to do the Disney route. So it is fascinating because I know so many gals my age who have auditioned and auditioned and auditioned, and you too. Like I know a little bit about your Disney story where you've auditioned for Disney for like 6 years in a row, you never get booked, and then like why do you all of a sudden get booked? Like I just want to hear a little bit about it, because I mean the three of us have never done the like the cruise or Disney route. Yeah. So I would just love to hear a bit about it.
Absolutely. And actually that's a perfect segue, because the book really started with my chronicles and my adventures and experience at Disney. So that's well done. It's like you knew.
It's like we're professional podcasters or something.
Oh my gosh. And the presence of excellence. Okay, so my journey with Disney started when I was 17. I went to my very first Disney audition and I made it to the end to play Belle at Hong Kong Disneyland.
Oh.
And they saw I was 17. I was too young, but they were like, hey, come back. We really like you. And I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. So naturally, the second I turned 18, I went to every Disney audition. I went to face characters. I went to singers. I went to actors. I went to everything for Hong Kong Disney and Tokyo Disney and Disneyland. And I'd always, you guys, I would always make it to like final callbacks. And it would be this, there's a stage where you have to fill out all the paperwork and they tell you, hey, you'll hear back from us within 6 months. And so then you're like, oh my gosh, like I start packing my bag.
Yeah.
And I got to get my passport and I got to do all the things. And then literally for 10 years, it was crickets. And so I got to the point, I think about 6 years in, when I was just like, I'm not going anymore. And it was a big moment for me where I know this is a podcast and y'all can't see me, but like I have a very strong face structure. And I was convinced that like my strong nose and my strong jaw, that I looked like a villain. And I was like, I guess I just don't look like a Disney princess. And for me, it was a moment of saying, I think I'm okay with playing things that are bigger, and Disney is amazing and I am not discounting that, but saying I think I want more for my creative journey than quote unquote just playing a Disney princess. Yeah. Hannah, I feel like you're smiling.
Are
we Gina, on similar themes?
Well, Gina was
Gina's clapping.
Yeah,
in the booth.
Oh,
the revelation.
Thanks, girl.
Yeah, Gina was like applause. Yeah, she was really happy about what you were saying.
So much. So there I was deciding, I'm not going to knock on Disney's door. If they want me, they can come find me. And it was literally 10 years. I was 17, and then when I was 27, actually 26 in like a couple months before my birthday, my agent sent me to a Hong Kong Disneyland audition. And I was like, why? This is such a waste of time because they clearly don't want me. And I showed up and I was singing for Friend of Is Disney Speak, and that's how I'll continue to refer to these characters, Friend of Ariel. And in the music, it's much higher than what they use in the show. And I cracked on the high note, and I was just like, well, this is embarrassing. And our casting director said, hey, can you sing for Friend of Merida? And I was like, I'd only seen Brave once. And I got the sheet music on the spot with sight reading. And I was like, you know what? I sound really good on this, like she's a belter and that's really my avenue. And I thought, you know what? I feel really good about this. This was a good time. Forgot about it. That was in November. In February 2020, before things really kicked off for us here in the States, I got an email from my agent that was like, you're going to Hong Kong and you're going to be friends with Merida. And I had forgotten about it. And it was one of the happiest surprises in my emails. I don't know if you guys ever do that, where you forget you audition for something and it's like, well, I guess my life is changing now. How exciting. It was very traumatic is not the word I want. It was dramatic, where I was supposed to leave April of 2020 to go to Hong Kong. Things kicked off for us in COVID in March. And it was just up in the air every single day, getting different emails from the company saying like, you're going, you're not going, you're going, you're not going. I had to turn in all this paperwork, and the government in Hong Kong is very strict, as you might imagine. And so I had to go through a lot of hoops to even, be considered to be let into the country before even working for Disneyland. A miracle happened. I made it over there and had to quarantine for 2 weeks by myself, where I experienced, real Hong Kong cuisine for the first time, which was quite an adventure. And Hong Kong is known for its amazing food. But sometimes it can be a little rough if you're, just getting hotel meals 3 times a day for 2 weeks. But Hong Kong was absolutely incredible. The culture is this melting pot. It's full of what's called expats. So people like myself who have expatriated is the verb, I believe, from their own countries. And they comment. And so it's very welcome to people who are not native Hong Kongers. And the city is just full of the best food from all over the world and arts. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And the people are kind and welcoming. And the culture is very collectivistic over individualistic. So whereas in America, we're like, what's best for me? The culture is what's best for us. And I really saw that play out with all of the COVID isms, where people do put on their masks and they do wash their hands and they do show social distance as much as you can in a really small place with a lot of people. But I was in the safest place that I could be in the early days. And I met the best people from all over the world. Some of my best friends were from from London and from Yorkshire, and I met an amazing best friend from Florida, and I could not have asked for any more in the friend aspect. And I took Cantonese lessons, and it was really became such a home for me, and I counted as one of the greatest experiences of my life. And on the performing aspect, it was such a dream come true, and a dream that I thought was dead, but that audition put a little rain and soil on it. And
don't we understand? Yeah. I really resonated with the whole, like, I sent out an audition and then I forgot about it because I sent out 40, like,
yeah, right.
Like, I sent out so many that how do I know what I'm even, but that's,
absolutely.
Well, that's so exciting. I would love to hear, and sort of open it up a little bit of like the Disney style, and like, me, Becki, and Dawn are more like on the traditional side of theater. But I always thought I'd be a good fit for Disney because I have a very performative style.
Very expressive.
Yeah, I'm very like loud. My facial expressions are just like over the top, which is like why I could never do film, I don't think. Because I'm just like, I am not subtle enough.
That is fair. And I love that you know that about yourself. You're not trying to be something that you aren't. You know which mediums fit your strengths. I love that.
Right. What's up, Bex?
Oh, just in college, my senior year, I auditioned for like the student films or whatnot. And having a strong theater background, and also like, I don't know, I was probably out like partying the night before, maybe not in the best headspace for that audition. But I knew I was friends with some of the people, and after that audition, like one of them was just like, yeah, your faces. And I was just like, ooh, rude. Okay. I was like, I'm a theater actor. All right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Dawn, I don't think, have you ever considered like the Disney cruise, that sort of realm? I mean, I've talked about how I always thought I might do that, but I don't know if I've ever heard you talk about that.
No, I never thought about it. It's really interesting. I have, kind of like Becki was saying, in college, I dabbled in film. And actually, like, what came of that was just all of my professors being like, you are like commercial material. Anyone would trust your face. Anyone would trust your voice. Like, you could sell some Zyrtec. And I was like, I really don't want to.
Well, and you have done. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say you have done commercials for the city of Flagstaff, right?
I have. Amazing. 3 commercials for the city of Flagstaff. 2 of which Garrison Garcia played my husband in.
Which Garrison was on episode
How to
3?
Be an Ally?
Yeah.
Go back and listen if you missed that one. It was so good. But
it's true. You have a very I would trust your face. If I was going through a crisis in a grocery store, I would find you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of like, I did like some work for Gold Canyon Candles and like a couple other modeling gigs along those lines when I was living in Phoenix. And it was great money for a very short period of time. But of course, like, I didn't love it artistically. I loved it because I met amazing people. You get to show up like, you get to roll out of bed and show up, and someone does your hair and someone does your makeup, and they lay out your 3 outfits. And I joked that I often played like the token white girl. Like we would show up and it would often be like the same 4 women. And so we kind of got to know each other, and we had a lot of fun, but it's not artistically fulfilling. So outside of that, I never really thought about like Disney or, of course I went there as a kid and I loved it. And I was my mom says I watched Cinderella like 10,000 times when I was a little girl. I can still sing like every word of every Cinderella song. It's so great. But I never really thought about it.
Yeah, you have the Disney look though.
Yes.
You're teensy, you have bright blue giant eyes.
Yeah, that Tinkerbell over there.
Yeah,
now that you're Chucky's artist.
Yeah, very round face, like your cute little cheeks. It's so fascinating in the Disney world. I mean, we're gonna chat, and actually, I want to hear about Becki too, whether or not you ever considered it. But in the Disney world, it's just so specific, and we're gonna talk about body stuff for the to talk about your book a little bit, but like what was hard for me for Disney, and like I make this joke sometimes, I'm 5'8", unless Disney asks, then I'm 5'7". And I make that joke because like literally to be a Disney princess, you have to be like 5'5" to 5'7" or whatever. And I'm like 5'7" and 3/4 or something. So like I'm 5'8" to myself. But like if Disney calls, I'm 5'7", definitely 5'7". And they're like so specific, like down to weight. Like Disney is down to like cup size, weight, height, all those things. And so it's like we admire the like this realm and this world, but it also can be really toxic. And so I felt myself when I did lose weight, I was like, oh my gosh, I can do it now. Like, oh my gosh, I could be a Disney princess now because like I fall into the like proper, like goalposts. But it's a little bit of a scary way to think of like I have to be within 5'5" and 5'7" and between 120 and 150 pounds or whatever it is. Crazy. But I wanted to know, Becki, if you had ever thought about it or if it was not really ever something you considered.
No, I've considered it. When I was in college, I went to an audition. They had an open call in Philly, and the only thing that I remember is that they did measure everybody, their height.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
like going up against a wall. And then I think we did like an across the floor, but I couldn't tell you if it was a dance combination or if it was like be a character or I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously nothing came out of that. And then I also did apply for their college internship program.
Oh yeah, Disney college program.
Yeah, my senior year of college as well. And I did get in, but
Ooh, really? I've never heard this.
Well, I didn't go because I had a summer job and I knew when that end date was, and Disney couldn't tell me when my start date was. And I was like, well, then I can't do this because I don't know if I'm available.
Right.
So they didn't tell me, so I had to turn it down.
Did you, because don't you get like little, like, you get like a section or something? What was your like emphasis?
It was probably retail.
Retail,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who have done it and have a summer still with them with Disney, and they've kind of moved on in their career or moved higher up that ladder.
That's
and I guess that was like my hope, but they couldn't tell me when my start date was.
And Becki is so on it. I mean, she is, production manager, stage manager to a T. So she's like, no, I need these dates, y'all.
Yeah.
I auditioned once in New York for the Disney cruise. And I remember I did actually get to sing, which I'm surprised because it was like at Pearl Studios.
Yes.
And like I remember, being in line, and like it was very much the like traditional New York experience. So I'm actually very, very surprised I got seen at all. And I was so green. I was so green. It was pretty bad, honestly. I mean,
everyone
I'm sure
starts
fine,
somewhere.
Yeah. I was just like, oh my gosh. And I don't think I got to dance. I don't remember. But anyway, that was technically the only Disney audition I've done, but
it went well, so
yeah, I mean, I didn't like fall on my face, but I also didn't book it, so clearly didn't go that well. Well, I'm so glad that you had a good experience in Hong Kong, even though it was like obviously such a weird time to be moving to Hong Kong.
So when did they actually send you over?
I got to leave 4 days after my original start date, which I thought to be a miracle, and it was very intense at LAX. They had to call the Hong Kong government and get special clearance for me to enter. Even though I had my visa, I had my letter from Disney, they called the government and they said, is Renna Nightingale allowed in your country? And they were like, yep, send her through. But it was very stressful because they were like, we won't let you, you're not, a Hong Kong resident. We're not going to let you in. I was like, listen, but the mouse says I can go. And they're like, all right, come on in.
The mouse trumps all.
Honestly.
She says that she wears
they value Disney very much over there in Hong Kong, which I discovered.
How funny. So. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would love to hear a little bit more about your book. And, you mentioned that that's a great segue because it kind of started with Disney. And I was kind of mentioning like sort of that scary idea that we have to look a very certain way in the theater world. And if you're listening and you want to know a little bit more about like our individual body image journeys, please go listen to our body image episode. I can't keep track. I keep being like maybe 3. I think it was 3. I don't know. One of our early episodes.
All of the episodes that we're mentioning, maybe they're 3. I don't know.
One of our early episodes is our body image episode. So go give that a listen, definitely. But yeah, tell us a bit about your book that is coming out. And I'd love to hear about it.
Hey, so while I was in Hong Kong, we had many a shutdown of the park because of COVID numbers. And they were very, very small, but the government was very careful. And so there would be months at a time when I was not allowed to go to work and we really weren't allowed to go anywhere. And they took those shutdowns very, very seriously. And so my friends and I got together every day and we would have what we'd call creative hour. And I would write, and I'd have other friends who learned languages and, designed businesses. And it was really this fruitful time where we decided we're not going to let these shutdowns get us down. How can we move forward? And so I ended up taking a book proposal class. And at the end, it was this competition to submit. And those who were selected got a book deal. And I was not selected, but I was very encouraged by my teacher afterwards. She said, I really think you have something. I think you should move forward and keep writing. At the time, my book idea was about how to use my theater education on the Bible, because I'm a Christian. So it was like breaking down the script of scripture and how to apply our theater techniques to bring the Bible to life. And I submitted to agents, and this literary agent got back to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is it. And she was like, actually, I hate your idea and I hate your writing, but I have this idea. And so as I'm like trying not to cry on the phone, she said, have you ever thought about writing about body image? And I was so taken aback because I had struggled with eating disorders since I was 12. And I obviously had not written, that was not relevant to the book proposal that I'd sent her. So I didn't know how she kind of knew this about me.
Yeah.
And I had written in my bio of this book proposal that I spent my days sitting on a rock, flipping my fin, trying not to fall off a rolling set piece, because I'm not allowed to say I'm not allowed to say like, Ariel. I'm not allowed to say that. So she said that she got this vision of this girl who looked, and I'm using all the air quotes here, you guys, who looked like a Disney princess, but had this insecurity deeply inside of her. And I was very rocked by that. And I said, I don't really feel like this is for me, but thanks so much. And she said, if you change your mind, send me a book proposal because I want one. Wow. Hung up the phone, cried on the floor, called all my friends, and I was like, can you believe it?
The audacity.
The audacity. And all my friends said, actually, I think that's maybe a story that you should be writing, because of course they knew about my journey and my struggles, and I was I was in a bad place again, because with Disney, come on, like I was playing a mermaid. I was sitting on a rock. And come on, sitting down trying to sing, first off, is difficult, let alone trying to have a flat stomach while trying to sing, while sitting down. It's just not a good combination. It's an unrealistic combination to be a Little Mermaid and to not be able to use your diaphragm and all the things you need to perform well. And of course, also think about this. Like, I was in a fishbowl. I was literally living with the smallest, most beautiful, again, quote unquote, just the iconic look of what women, again, quote, which all the problems with this idea are supposed to look like.
Right.
And so I was comparing myself to the highest degree to unrealistic expectations, and then putting those expectations on myself every single day. And of course, in my contract for Disney, it says you need to remain at the weight in which you were hired. And I didn't. You guys, I totally didn't, because it was shut down. It was lockdown. I was in a foreign country. I was scared. And one of the ways that my friends and I were dealing with our fear of the uncertainty and not knowing when we were going to see our families again was pizza. Yeah. We would have so much pizza. And I do not regret it, but my body was changing. My life was changing. Everything was in upheaval, and my body reflected that. And so I started to get into unhealthy habits again of over exercising and under eating and punishing my body anyway. I knew how to try to make it shrink and take up less space, which is so difficult psychologically and emotionally, especially when, again, just during a pandemic for any human, let alone being in a foreign country, I couldn't go home.
Yeah.
You know, it's either I quit and I leave, but I didn't know. It was just a scary, scary time.
And I imagine
so anyway,
you couldn't like go out into like you couldn't explore, you couldn't do, I imagine this, I don't know if that was true, but like if there were shutdowns, I just imagine that you were probably holed up in your hotel room or at least in the hotel or.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, that again, like psychologically and also just like physically, like, I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah.
Thanks, Becki. And tough for all of us. You know, we all experienced this world trauma and, you know, mine was no different. And so in January, before I even spoken to this agent, I had a moment of clarity where I said, you know what, God, I can't live this way anymore. I'm harming myself and I'm defeated and I'm over it and I'm sick of hating myself. I'm so over devoting this time and energy to hatred of something that I should be befriending my own body. And so I got online. I said, I need help. And I found a nutritionist and I reached out to her and her name is Emma. Shout out Emma.
Woo!
And I told her like, oh, hey, I just need to lose a couple pounds because I work for, you know, Disney and, you know, I just need to make sure I still fit my costume. And she looked at, you know, my size and my height and everything. And she said, no, I cannot in good conscience help you do that. You're not healthy. And I said, okay, well, it's, you don't understand. It's like for my job. And so like to be employed, like this is what I need to do. And I said, listen, like sometimes like at work, like there are weigh-ins and like, you know, I get measured all the time. And like, I just really need help for work. And she said, no. And she said, do you realize that that's not normal for the workplace?
Yeah.
And
Ooh.
I had that moment, you guys, where I was like, you mean that most people don't have to worry about keeping their jobs if they gain weight?
Yeah.
What? I mean, I would love to hear from you guys, and you may have covered this on your previous podcast, but like, do you guys remember a moment either when you're getting fitted for a costume or like when you're cast in a role and you're like, I need to look a certain way, or but that moment of just like, my body isn't my own. Have you guys had that feeling?
Of course.
And also being on the stage management side, having witnessed, and having felt like I couldn't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. We've all just been nodding for like 3 minutes straight. And Gina clapped again. She quietly clapped in the booth. So
I had an experience in college where I was wrong, but I thought so I was in Crucible playing Abigail, and we had corsets for our costumes, and we had to start wearing those the first day of rehearsal, but we were cast the semester before. So the casting happened, summer passed, and we came back. And my assumption was that my corset was built to close completely.
Okay.
Right? Like it was supposed to close completely around my body.
Yeah.
When we got there and it didn't, I thought that I must have gained weight over the summer because I wasn't in all of my movement classes and all my dance classes and everything all summer. So I thought, oh, I gained weight. And so now my corset has like this 2-inch gap. And I tortured myself to get that corset closed. And actually, like, it's kind of a funny story. It's like a sad, funny story, but it was so close to closing, like right before we were supposed to have our final fittings for our costumes. And I told one of my friends, just to like pull it closed, just like anything she could, just like yank it closed. And I'm not kidding. The second she like yanked it closed, I just threw up.
Oh no.
Whoa.
Luckily I was standing over top of a trash can. Like I can't tell, I was like bracing myself against a wall on top of a trash can. And it was, I mean, I have always thought of it as kind of hilarious, but it's actually kind of devastating.
Yeah. It's like really traumatic. Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's awful. And then it turns out they weren't supposed to close.
I was going to say corsets are supposed to have a gap.
Yes, they were supposed to have a gap.
Where crisscrosses.
So when I went in for my costume fitting, you know, like my final fitting right after that, the woman who made the costumes was like, you didn't need to close this. It doesn't need to close. So yeah, it's really interesting what we'll do. You know, like I feel like that is going out of vogue as far as theater is considered. And I really hope so. The other thing I wanted to mention is, you know, being an aerialist, like the sort of Disney of aerial is Cirque du Soleil, right? And it's very similar, like what their expectations are for height and weight. But beyond that, they mandate birth control for all their women performers.
Whoa.
Oh, like they have to be on birth control?
You have to be on birth control. You
no way.
Work for Cirque du Soleil and not be on birth control.
Is
How is that
fascinating.
legal?
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. But it's because they just won't deal with the liability of a pregnant aerialist.
Of course, yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's amazing what, you know, companies can mandate or can ask for and can, you know, and yeah, I hope we move away from that.
But also, like, as an aerialist, my body has changed so flipping much. Like, oh my gosh, my shoulders are so broad now. What the heck happened? Like, I can't put on my bras anymore. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm much fitter, but I'm fitter in a completely different way. Yeah. Like, my shoulders and my back are, like, insane. And that I have never had broad shoulders. So it's funny how, like, but, like, in an aerial world, like, having broad shoulders is completely normal. And like
you have to, right?
Yeah,
you cannot pull yourself up if you don't.
Yeah, exactly. But then, like, if I wanted to walk into a Disney audition, my shoulders are probably too broad now. Like, you know what I mean? It's fascinating. It's completely fascinating. Yeah. So is the book available? When is the book available? When can we
What's the title?
Read it? Yeah.
Thank you for asking. So right now, the book is in book proposal stage. So my book proposal was picked up by that same literary agent whom I love and guided me correctly. And I was so excited and proud of this book proposal that I have created, and really was a further step into my own healing to really it was cathartic to write down and say, hey, why do I feel this way? Where were the moments that really formed the way that I thought about this? And what are techniques that I can hold on to and use myself, as well as share with my friends when we feel X, Y, or Z, because we will. Because even if you're not an artist, we are women in a world that tells us that we are not worthy unless we look a certain way. So I wanted to have these tools and share them. So anyway, we are in the book pitching phase. So we are pitching to publishers. So I will definitely keep you guys posted. But my proposed title is I Call BS, Body Shame. Yeah. Freedom Fits at Any Size.
Yay! Oh, claps.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for writing it.
Yeah. And you should follow Renna on Instagram, because she posts a lot of like body positive videos and like tips and tricks and stuff. And she also has like a newsletter you can sign up for. So while you wait for the book, you can still like get some Renna content.
Thank you. Yeah. That would be amazing. I would love to share with you, specifically on my email list is where I will send out every other week. So I'm not, like super bombing your inbox, because I find that super annoying. So don't even worry. But just every other week, I'm going to send a short piece of content to just inspire you, lift you up, and hopefully brighten your day. But you can find that either through my Instagram at Renaissance, RennaIssancE, or at RennaNightingaleHQ.com. And I'd love to just partner with you. And this is not a journey that is meant to be done alone. And so I would love to partner alongside of you and be that cheerleader in person. Like, feel free to reach out to me, when you have those bad days of like, I feel terrible about myself, or like, whatever you need. Like, I've been there. I've been in all of the seats of, oh man, from, binging and eating too much to eating nothing and then punishing myself. Like, I've been there, and I just want to be a safe place to know that you are not alone. And the thing about eating disorders or eating the unhealthiness of it is that it's a lie that convinces you you're alone. It's a lie that says you're the only one that deals with this. You are selfish to think about this. You should have figured this out already, and your body is basically betraying you in any way. And so that is something I'm so passionate about, is speaking up to say, this is something that has ruled my life for a while and not anymore, but I need help and I will need a community. So that is another reason why I'm so passionate about speaking and writing about this topic.
Yeah. It's so funny how it found you. I'm so glad it did. And oh, you're just such a cutie. I wish you were closer. I want to take you to coffee every day and just have you be my cheerleader.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I will do that. I will be your guys' cheerleader. Just be online,
virtual cheerleader
until I make a stop. And so I have to come to see your festival. So
please,
please come.
That's me there.
Renna, I'm curious what the conversation was like for you to go back to that publisher. The one who said, you know what, we're not interested in this story, but we would be interested in this other story. So what was that? Did you feel any what are the words that I'm trying to say? Not shame, but just oh, you were right, I do want to write this story. Or hey, I want to take you up. What was that process like for you?
My biggest fear, Becki, was that it would come across as disingenuous. I was afraid that she would think, oh, well, this girl only wants to be published. She's only interested in what I can offer her. And of course, nobody wants that. And so I really wanted to make sure that I conveyed this true change of heart. I wanted to make sure that I conveyed the depth of my journey, that this journey started when I was 12. It did not start when you asked me to write something for you. And so that was my biggest fear and hope. And I think we've all encountered that when we go into auditions, right? When you know that you have a dream role or a dream moment or a dream opportunity, to let them know, this is actually who I am. This is a part of me that I know would be a good fit for you. And I just want to make sure that you can really see that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Whew. Goodness gracious. Gals getting book deals. Whoa.
Hashtag booked and blessed. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Agreed.
That was my prayer for 2020. What are we now? 2?
What are we now?
Yep. Honestly, Lord knows. Lord knows. Where are we? We don't know when it is. What today is.
Time is irrelevant.
Well, any last minute thoughts before we're going a little over time? That was an excellent chat. Anything else we want to ask Renna before we head out?
I don't know. It was just so lovely chatting with you. And I mean, you just mentioned just being genuine, and I just in the 30 minutes I've known you, I can just feel that warmth and and generosity, genuineness. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Renna.
So much.
Thanks for opening
you guys.
up. And
you guys are so inspiring, and I think what you're doing is amazing. And thank you for creating a space for women to talk about theater and all the aspects, and also non-women too, but a powerhouse group of women leading the way.
Exactly. And it's actually funny now that you mention it. So I keep an eye on our analytics and stuff, and our percentages are really close, y'all. Women are 54% and the rest is men. So dudes who are out there,
and
exactly,
with open mind, supporting. Come on, come on. What did you call it, Shroopies?
We're not sure.
working title, working. I don't know.
I mean, Shroompa-Loompas. I still like that one.
I like Shrew Crew.
Yeah, Shrew Crew is good.
I want to be like Shrew.
Yeah, Shrew Crew.
I want to be like Shrew.
I want to be like Shrew.
Coming from the Disney gal.
Yeah.
I know. I can't help it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Renna. It was so amazing to have you. Dawn, take us away.
Thanks for listening to this month's episode of Untamed Shrews. I'm Dawn.
And I'm Becki.
And I'm Hannah. Join us next time for an episode with Austin Titchener of Reduced Shakespeare fame. What?
Ooh.
Guys, I met him at the Shakespeare Theater Association conference, and I can't wait to pick his brain. They are kind of a legend. Reduced Shakespeare is pretty famous, so whoa.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Follow Untamed Shrews on Instagram at Untamed Shrews Podcast and on Facebook at facebook.com/Flagstaff Shakespeare Festival.
We're so
Keep that in.
We're the most gigglies.
All episodes of Untamed Shrews can be found on sunsounds.org, the Flagstaff Shakespeare Festival YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. Please subscribe, leave us a review, or put us in your Instagram stories. Or do all of those.
Or all of the above.
It really helps people see our podcast.
This episode of Untamed Shrews, starring Dawn Tucker, Becki Zaritsky, Hannah Fonts, and Renna Nightingale. Show art by Calliope Luedeker. Podcast theme song by Cadence Lamb. Podcast produced and edited by Hannah Fonts. Presented by Flagstaff Shakespeare Festival and recorded with Sun Sounds, Arizona. Special thanks to our audio engineer, Gina Byars.
Woo! Thanks, Renna. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Renna.
Bye. Bye.